the Social Security Administration late last week submitted a new rule to the Office of Management and Budget. So now this proposed rule would further tighten eligibility requirements for Social Security disability benefits. So now the administration's proposed rule would basically revise the criteria by which the SSA determines who does and does not qualify for disability. Under current law, applicants with certain serious conditions automatically qualify for benefits. Those with other ailments are deemed qualified or not based on an evaluation of additional factors such as age, work history, education, and, quote, residual functional capacity. So that system makes sense, right? So you're basically taking in the context of somebody. Like, okay, you have this wrong with you, but you're also, you're an older person. So, you've got back issues. You've had back issues for your entire life. I know it's like the common one that they go to is the back, but you've been working your ass off in the factory for 30 years. You're in your 50s. You're like, I can't do it. I can't work anymore. So they'll take that into consideration versus somebody who's 20 years old and complains of back pain and says, oh yeah, it hurts. Well, you can still work. You're 20 years old. So we'll deny you based on that claim. Okay. But the 50-year-old, they'd be more accepting of. That's how it works currently. Okay. So now that's it. The Trump administration's proposed rule would change all that. As the Wall Street Journal reported earlier this year, it would no longer assume age seriously affects a person's ability to adapt to what they call simple entry-level work. It would also raise the age at which education and work experience are considered in determining eligibility to 55 from 50. The new rule would also update data on occupational skills the agency uses to determine eligibility based on new information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So my question is, how is age not a factor? They're saying that, no, we would like to no longer consider age as a major factor on whether you should get disability or not. So I think that should be a factor, though. And also, what would be considered entry-level work? I mean, a lot of entry-level work can be pretty demanding. And gone are the days where, there's a lot of secretarial work, for example. Okay. Take fast food workers. They're entry-level work. Okay. They are considered to be entry-level. It's not an easy environment. It is very fast-paced work. Cashiers are another one. People in America often stand for 8 hours a day. Now, I say America because in a lot of other countries, cashiers actually get chairs. Not in America, though. We say, no, you must stand for 8 hours. Damn it. Or else if you're not standing, you ain't working. I know because I've heard my bosses say that before. Okay. So understand that there is a lot of entry-level work that is actually physically demanding. If you're asking for people who are older and considered to be disabled, but not that disabled or that much to get benefits to stand for 8 hours a day or do that kind of fast food work, well, I mean, that's not good. Okay. And look, the reason that they're doing this is pretty simple. Republicans want to gut Social Security. They don't want people getting checks. Okay. They don't want people getting government checks. They hate it. And secondly, and this is also important, companies want to pay people less because they can get away with paying disabled people less for the same amount of work. So if these so-called entry-level jobs start filling up with people who are disabled, legally, companies are able to pay them less because, we have to make accommodations for them, right? Which I think is ridiculous. They should get paid the same as anyone else. That said, and that's why they're exploited often by employers. And the employers know this, and that's why they were like, yeah, we would rather hire disabled people to do these jobs, which they know they could do, and then pay them less over what we consider to be, quote unquote, able-bodied people. And so they get away with even more exploitation under this new rule. But there's more. Another component of the proposed overhaul according to Huffington Post, would essentially redefine full-time work as 30 hours per week instead of the usual 40 for purposes of determining whether someone is disabled. So, as a result, fewer people would likely win benefits as a result. Okay. So now 40, again, is considered to be full-time to get benefits from the company, right? They're going to scale this back to 30 so that, you're not able to get benefits, basically, to determine, like, if you can work 30 hours a week, then, well, you're obviously not disabled. So you're not going to get benefits. But if you're someone who's disabled and cannot work a 40-hour work week because of your disability, then you're not going to get benefits there. So that basically leaves everyone who is in that predicament without any sort of benefits, whether it be healthcare through Medicare, which is what disabled people get often, in addition to Medicaid if they're low income. And you can't, you can't get benefits from your work like healthcare. And so you're basically stuck in the middle and you don't have anything that can help you because people who do have disability often require medical care, like, for example, medication in order to manage said disability. And so it leaves a lot of people in the middle that are really hurting, that are going to continue hurting and not being able to get the benefits they need and that they deserve, frankly. And so now Richard Fiesta, fun name, by the way, executive director of the Alliance for Retired Americans, warned that the Trump administration's rule, one of many attacks it has launched on Social Security during its 4 years in power, would oppose a massive change that would push thousands of Americans into poverty. Quote, Social Security's disability payments are modest, an average of about $15,096 a year for the average worker. Again, that is not a lot of money. That is a very low amount of money. And it said that these benefits are not easy to receive. Disabled workers go through a lengthy and rigorous process to determine eligibility, which is entirely true. Again, I know people that have gone personally through this process. There are a lot of denials, oftentimes years. It takes years sometimes to get benefits if you're even able to get through that process, because there are so many denials and there are so many requirements in order to meet. It is not like, oh, my pinky toe hurts, even though I gesture towards my back. It hurts. Oh, I'm going to get disability and then sit fat on my ass. That's not what happens. That's not what happens at all. But that is, unfortunately, is what Republicans tend to push as when you think of people that go on disability, which is not the truth at all. But the reason that they push that narrative is so that they can cut Social Security and so they can take that money for themselves to fund their own projects, to give to their donors, in reduced taxes and things like that, and also allow companies to be able to exploit disabled workers who will work, at a lower pay rate, basically. And so now, one more here is going to continue the quote here. We are in a pandemic that is hitting older Americans the hardest. Our government should be helping Americans who can no longer work due to a disability, not scheming to deny them benefits they have earned over a lifetime of hard work. Indeed. Now, here's the other thing, right? Even when the majority of Americans get vaccinated, and I hope a majority do, and the pandemic ends, right? So that's not going to be for a while. That might not even be until the middle of next year or even the summer, okay? Even if all that happens at that time, which we don't know, but if it does, we're still going to be in a recession. Things aren't just going to magically go back to the way they were prior to coronavirus, okay? So the effects of the shutdown and the lack of help from the government, this is really important. We got a one-time $1,200 stimulus check. And not even all Americans were able to get it. And then there were $600 unemployment benefits. That's it. As far as the government is concerned, when it came to helping people during a pandemic, the United States government chose to help corporations far more than it helped regular people. And as a result, we are going to be dealing with a recession for a very long time. And yet, at the same time, they're telling people who are disabled to go get jobs that may or may not exist and would normally perhaps go to younger people or other people in the market, which they can allow, which these companies will then pay those disabled people a lot less. And so in a way, it allows these corporations to exploit these people in order to save a few bucks. It is sick. And Republicans know exactly what they're doing when they propose these. They don't care about the disabled. They don't care about the poor. They certainly don't care about the elderly. Okay. All they care about, and you can see through their actions, this being one of them, they only give a shit about the rich, corporations, and their own donors. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.